Sai Ram. Yes, we shall once again soak ourselves in the Leelas of Baba. The more we read, the more we get to become very familiar, and the more familiar we become with Baba, that much close we feel his presence. So that's why one must keep reading, listening, about the Leelas of saints, gods, and we have such a wonderful book for us. Every day we can read and soak ourselves, in that syrupy devotion. And it is so juicy, so sweet. It purifies us in very many subtle ways, which is not easily tangible. We cannot immediately recognize, see it, But the more we soak in it, absorb in it, literally, it is like this pickle making, when most of us be doing that at home when you cut some lime, lemon, or mango, whatever pickle, you want to make. On that day one when you made, you're waiting to eat it, but and even our mothers and grandmothers would not allow us to eat, at that time. They will say, no, you must let it marinate for some time. After that, when you, that is really wonderful. So it is like this, we must marinate ourselves in this. Soak it. Read it, and when you're reading it, it should be like you're reading it for the first time. You haven't heard. Oh, this happened, And let me tell you, you may not believe in the first time when you read, the second time you read, okay, so this happened, Sai Baba was there, and this miracle happened. Miracles are what? When we do not understand or we haven't experienced, we put it as a miracle somewhere far away, and nothing scientific about it, and we do not know. Basically, when we don't know how something functions, we call it a miracle. But the more you soak yourselves in Baba's Leelas, you will actually see these experiences. You will notice them. And then, because as you're living every day, you will say, how did this happen? Those moments, Then you say, it must be true. This could have happened. If this has happened to me, it could have happened everywhere. Because we do not know about it, we haven't heard or experienced it like this. We cannot, our mind doesn't register it, and then we push it off and say, that's a coincidence. That's, that's a miracle, whatever. Truly, this is how, because Baba, when we say Baba is Antaryami, Baba is all pervading, what exactly is the meaning of, when you begin to register these happenings, as your own, you say, it happened to me, which means what? You are connecting to that wavelength at that point of time. You are connecting with that all-pervading consciousness at that time. No? So when more and more such experiences happen, our faith automatically grows. And when the faith is such, should be drida, you should allow. We should allow. We have to cultivate it. Do not think it's just going to happen. Just because I'm reading, mechanically I'm going on reading, okay, wonderful, you begin that way. But as you've started reading and you have begun to see that, this way it works, your faith grows in it. And the more, then there is a test of that faith also. What kind of faith is it? What quality faith is it? Huh? Is it like when my things work, I see that God has done his duty. When I have not got what I wanted, oh, God is busy somewhere else. He's not listening to me. Huh? God is never be like too busy for anything. God says, I have nothing to do in the three worlds. Okay, so what can he be busy with? Somewhere we have disconnected, you know, so that faith has wavered. That faith is not complete. So we must again reinforce that faith. So go back to reading the book. Huh? And that is how we cultivate faith, where there is complete surrender. So we'll see in the 9th chapter also, very subtle hints is given here. We will see. We will read this. Chapter 9, effect of compliance and non-compliance with Baba's orders at the time of taking leave. We ended here actually. Last little bit of that was spoken about. A few instances given in this chapter. Mendicancy and its necessity, devotees' experiences, and Baba fed sumptuously. Now these are the different aspects in this chapter that is discussed about. At the end of the last chapter, it was briefly stated that the bhaktas who obeyed Baba's orders at the time of taking leave fared well, and those who disobeyed them suffered many a mishap. This statement will be amplified and illustrated with a few striking instances and by other matters dealt with in this chapter. Like I said, it is not that Baba wants obedience from us, you know. So he says, you sit here, you don't get up. He knows what's going to happen and he tries to protect the devotee, support. So he says, you know, he will give a hint. Stay back a day, don't leave, you know. You can go tomorrow. He will just speak very casually. If we are ready to pick up, then he will leave it, you know, because you see, great saints don't play with karma of anybody until they have not seeking it earnestly. Even then, if the saint feels that it is better to go through whatever that karma, they will allow for it. They will give us good counsel on how to go through that karma. If it's a bad thing, you know, we do ask for support, isn't it? But when they feel it can be avoided, they might even hint. So one must be ready. That is where faith, you know, it should be complete. When it is complete, no, we do not question them. But very often, we have so many attachments, so many desires. So even when they're giving us the hint, we don't take it. We try to reason with them and I'm going to finish all this. And then, okay, the saint says, okay, I gave you a hint. It's okay, your karma. They will leave it at that. So they do not go out of their way to change anything. That is also the mark of a great saint. So here we will we'll understand a few instances here. Characteristic of Shirdi, the pilgrimage. One special peculiarity of Shirdi pilgrimage was that none could leave Shirdi without Baba's permission. And if he did, he invited troubles. But if anyone was asked to quit Shirdi, he could stay there no longer. Baba gave certain suggestions or hints when devotees went to bid goodbye and take leave. These suggestions had to be followed. If they were not followed or if they departed from, accidents were sure to befall them. We give below a few instances. That is why, especially Guru Sthan, you need permission of the Guru to get there. It's not like a temple. Temple timings, what are temple timings? 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock you can go. The door has to be open, otherwise you can complain to the trustees. But not with Guru. Guru Sthan, it cannot. Until the Guru has not told you, you can't just say, okay, I'm just coming in, walking in, you know. What happens is you do not get that essence that needs to be in that, you know, that can happen, that magic that can happen in the presence, that doesn't come about. And same time, if they have said, now you leave, one must take that hint and leave. There is a good reason why they say leave. No, but we do not want to. We want to, oh, it's so beautiful staying with the Guru, so nice, can I be, one more day? And okay. The saint is not going to push you further. So these hints, when they give, you should pick it up. Should understand the tone, the way they speak, and you try it by trial, error. You will make a mistake, but you will hear again and you will recognize, and you must act upon it. So here with Tatya Kote Patil, what happened we will see. Tatya Kote was once going in a tonga to Kopargaon Bazaar. He came in haste to the masjid, saluted Baba, and said that he would go to Kopargaon Bazaar. Baba said, "Don't make haste, stop a little, forget the bazaar, don't go out of the village." On seeing his anxiousness to go, Baba asked him to take Shama, Madhavra Deshpande, with him. Not minding this direction, Tatya Kote immediately drove a tonga. One of the two horses, one which cost rupees 300. 300, very expensive in those days, more than 110 years ago, was very active and restless. After passing Savli Vihir, it began to run rashly, got a sprain in its waist, and fell down. Tatya was not much hurt, but was reminded of Mother Sai's direction. On another occasion, while proceeding to Kolhar village, he disregarded Baba's direction and drove in a tonga, which met with a similar accident. When you read it, you think, so I am so fearful. Bapre, better not meet such gurus, Baba, because when they tell and you don't listen, and by mistake you don't listen, they will curse you like this. There are many people who talk like this. Understand, Sadgurus can never curse anybody. If you have had such an experience, and if Tatya Patil was protected and supported even at that time, you don't know what worse could have happened. We do not hear, we do not listen to the Guru. The Guru says, let this be this way. We have 10 other things to tell the Guru on how important it is for us to do the way we think is right. This is not the way to be done. And we will reason out. So that is how Tatya also did. Baba is telling, but I'll go fast. I'll go and finish this work and come. He must have thought like this, and many of us do think, isn't it? Baba will say, you disregard it. You don't care for it, but he had to learn the hard way. Then there's this European gentleman also, about whom is said, he too, one European gentleman of Mumbai, came to Shirdi with an introductory note from Nanasaheb Chandorkar and with some object in view. He was comfortably accommodated in a tent. He wanted to kneel before Baba and kiss his hand. Therefore, he tried thrice to step into the masjid, but Baba prevented him from doing so. He was asked to sit in the open courtyard below and take Baba's darshan from there. Not pleased with the reception he got, he wanted to leave Shirdi at once and came to bid goodbye. Baba asked him to go the next day and not to hurry. People also requested him to abide by Baba's instructions. Not listening to all this, he left Shirdi in a tonga. The horses ran all right, but when Savli Vihar was passed, a bicycle came in front, and on seeing which the horses were frightened and ran fast. The tonga turned topsy-turvy and the gentleman fell down and was dragged over some distance. He was immediately rescued but had to go and lie in Kopargaon hospital for the treatment of his injuries. Such experiences were legion, and people learned the lesson that those who disobeyed Baba's instructions met with accidents in one way or the other, and those who obeyed them were safe and happy. I don't know if you have heard of any such instances, but I have heard of plenty. First of all, of course, it is said that, until that Bulawa doesn't come, it is called Sai's Bulawa. Until the calling doesn't come, you cannot go. You cannot visit. And once you go, you have to seek his permission to leave. And he does talk, even today. When you go to Shirdi, he will tell you, you must talk to him directly. You must connect from your heart. He will tell you how much money also to be put in the hundi. So you know that you owe him this much. And sometimes even when you are putting, he will say, nothing needed from you. You know, you would have decided, I will carry and I will put this much. He will say nothing. Usually, you should listen to him. No? There is no saying, oh, Baba, it is only for Annadan, it is only for medical, it is only for all the seva that you are doing. He has said no, he has not asked. You shouldn't push even otherwise. Being the over-enthusiastic devotee, you know, we do this also. That's why it's a very, very thin line, you know. This kind of understanding that must come about. It comes while being with a guru. Otherwise, one doesn't learn. How did they all learn? That is why they spoke to that European gentleman, like, don't leave. But what happens is most people don't believe this. So what is there? You know, it's a small thing. I will just go. So, you know, you can't explain these things. One has to experience it. The necessity of mendicancy. Now to return to the question of mendicancy. A question may arise in the minds of some that if Baba was such a great personage, God manifest, why should he have taken recourse to begging bowl throughout his life? This question may be considered and replied from two standpoints. Who are the people who have the right to live by the begging bowl? Our Shastras say that those persons who, after getting rid of or becoming free from the three main desires, which is for progeny, for wealth, and third one, for fame, and accept sannyas, are the fit persons to live by begging alms. They cannot make cooking arrangements and dine at their home. The duty of feeding them is laid on the shoulders of householders, grihasthas. Sai Baba was neither a householder nor vanaprastha. He was a celibate sannyasi from boyhood. His firm conviction was that the universe was his home. He was the Lord Vasudeva, the supporter of the universe and the imperishable Brahma. So he had full right to take recourse to begging. Okay, so that is one standpoint from the Shastras. Okay, the Shastras have mentioned. So such a person who has no more desire for three things that literally propel us to do and keep us bound to this samsara is our attachment to our children or the desire to have children, isn't it? That progeny is there. You know, many people say I am attached. My duties towards my children is not over. So see, sannyasa is not possible then. So that shouldn't be there. Then for wealth, any kind of wealth. Huh? When we say wealth, we are not talking about, I have wealth for roti kapda makan I have, I will give up my desire for a Mercedes car. No. When we say wealth, any kind of security. That's the kind of preparedness the mind must have. No, I don't know where my next meal is coming from. And I am not worried. Are we in that state? Then we are ready to give up wealth, not otherwise. Because wealth is not only the currency, wealth is that sense of artha, we say, no? That sense of security that comes. One must be ready to give up all of that. Huh? So, and artha, no, it is like, it's a very, very subtle point here. No? You might say, I'm not interested in eating this, interested in eating that, but I am looking for a group of people who will follow me so that I'm taken care of. That is also artha only. That is why even that fame is there, no? Fame means what? Automatically artha will follow. Isn't it? If you're becoming more popular, By, you are looking for that, people will feed you anyway. You are so famous, huh? So this is a very, very subtle thing. This is for each and every individual himself, for him to correct it and know. Only you yourself will know how far are you ready for this, of course, and the Guru will know. So this you cannot cheat. If you try to cheat on these three things, you are cheating yourself and you are at loss. That's all. So here, such a person can take up the begging. Well, he can go and ask. He is allowed to, and he has the right. The other standpoint, the second one. Now, from the standpoint of Panchasuna, 5 sins and their atonement. We all know that in order to prepare foodstuff and meals, the householders have to go through 5 actions or processes, which is Kandhani, Peshani, Udakumbhi, Marjani, and Chulli, which is pounding, grinding, washing pots, sweeping, cleaning, lighting hearths. These processes involve destruction of a lot of small insects and creatures, and thus the householder incurs sin. In order to atone for his sins, our Shastras prescribe 6 kinds of sacrifices, which is Brahma Yajna, then Vedadhyayan, Pitra Yajna, Deva Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, and Manushya, that is Atithi Yajna. So this is Veda Dhyanam, offerings to the Brahmins or the study of the Vedas, Pitra Yajna, offerings to the ancestors, Deva Yajna, offerings to the gods, Bhuta Yajna, offerings to the beings, all kinds of beings. Manushya, Atithi, offerings to men or uninvited guests. If these sacrifices enjoined by the Shastras are duly performed, the purification of their mind is effected, and this helps them to get knowledge and self-realization. Baba, in going from house to house, reminded the inmates of their sacred duty, and fortunate were the people who got the lesson at their homes from Baba. Now it is considered in the Shastras, it is said that as householders, we participate in many things, isn't it? Like cleaning and cooking, and in this so much is consumed also. And so there are, like we say, unintentionally, unknowingly, certain things that are committed in accruing, in holding, in getting, so that we sustain ourselves this way. So these sins are negated, or rather, when you do the these, what is mentioned is study of the Vedas, or offer to the Brahmins, offer food, whatever food we have cooked, that is why in many homes traditionally, it's seen in our culture that when food is prepared, it is given to the crows, offering is made to, that is Pitra. The crows are representing Pitra, our forefathers, ancestors. Then they also feed other animals. Dogs are there, maybe in some house there is a cow or calf. You go to Ahmedabad, you go to Gujarat, you will have a lot of these cows on the roads, and many people will be feeding them in the morning. One roti or something made is fed. You feed the bird, you feed the ants. So this way, and then definitely when guests arrive, sometimes now very difficult to cater to them because people are so busy. When the guest comes, we generally, I get to hear, they ask, I hope you have eaten and come. Because it is a big this to cook for somebody and serve. It is becoming very, very common in the metros, One should not do that, where whatever time they come. That is why we say Atithi was at uninvited. In those days, 100 years ago, we didn't have mobile and we didn't have all this, phone to tell them, hey, can I take an appointment? Can I come tomorrow? And people had to travel quite a lot. So when they had that time, they would come and they would say, we have to spend 3 days and go. Otherwise, how can the meeting just get over, really meeting people would. So then you are just, they are guests and you have to cater to them. So we can make it easy by at least taking an appointment and informing the people that we will be coming and we would like to stay for lunch or dinner, so that you make it easy for the others. Today we can afford to do that, so one must do it. But otherwise also, if somebody has come, do offer whatever is there. You please have, you should say, and feed them whatever is cooked at home. That must be there. That is why it is said that even in a house, if there are 4 members, food for 5 at least should be cooked. That little bit should be left over. 1 roti should be left over night, and that roti can be again given to the bhutas, because it is said that usually Ma Lakshmi comes in the night and she takes a look. She comes to many homes and finds that there is no food to eat because they have cleared everything, They want to be neat and clean. They don't want to have leftovers. So from that vessels, they have cleaned up everything and washed and kept everything, which is a neat thing to do. But do leave something. Don't think of finishing everything this way. Okay? Because life continues. We may or may not be there. Okay? What we leave behind is also very important. So an uninvited guest or somebody who is hungry comes, you all the time have that and you don't feel bad that there is nothing to give. Must be there a little. So this way, this kind of teaching also. So when Baba goes house to house, and I think I told you previously, we were allowed only 5 homes this way to go and ask for. And in 5 homes, you don't get any food that day, you're going to fast. But people who gave food to sadhus, then the sadhu will give them some kind of advice. And Baba here would give, so much. The grahastas enjoyed his company. They got so much free advice. So it was wonderful. They were fortunate to feed him. Okay, so from these 2 standpoints, the necessity. Baba, of course, this universe is his home. He can just pick up from anywhere, or he could go begging also. So this is how a bit about Baba and how he went about doing this. Then we have, of course, devotees' experiences. Baba would remind people. Somebody came to him or even decided in his mind to offer something and he didn't do it, Baba will remind, definitely. That's what is spoken of also here. Devotees' experiences. Now to return to the other more interesting subject. Lord Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita, whosoever devoutly offers to me a leaf, a flower, or fruit or water, of that pure-hearted man, I accept that pious offering. With devotion when it is done, with love when it is done. Understand, it is not the offering that pleases God. It is your devotion when you are offering that pleases Him. It is the love that you have for God that pleases Him. Okay? If it was what you are offering, then definitely who is offering a gold ring will be better, taken care of by God. And if you give him 1 leaf and 1 flower, God will. But God says what? Whichever it is. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, you give me water, no problem. Because see, the master of the universe, he has created the universe. Of the universe, what can we give him that he already doesn't have? Huh? He will say, all this belongs to me only, what are you giving me? Huh? But can that be offered with a lot of love, lot of devotion? Hey, this is what I want to give you. Feeling very good about it. Happy to connect that way to the Lord. When he sees that, that pleases God. Truly, that is where he says, If at all, how can we, he is the master of the universe, can we bind him to this universe? But no, only with our love can we bind. And he says, there I am bound. He's very scared, you know, of a devotee's love to him, because he says, you can bind me with that. No, don't do that. Bhagavan Krishna told the Gopikas also, don't love me so much, I will have to take another janma to repay the kind of love you all are showering on me. You are binding me by that. Huh? By that love and devotion? Yes, not otherwise. So here, Tarkad family, father and son, we shall see what happened to them. Mr. Ramachandra Atmaram alias Baba Saheb Tarkad, formerly a Prarthana Samajist, was a staunch devotee of Sai Baba. His wife and son loved Baba equally or perhaps more. It was once proposed that Master Tarkad should go with his mother to Shirdi and spend his summer vacation there. But the son was unwilling to go, as he thought that in case he left his home in Bandra, the worship of Sai Baba in the house would not be properly attended to, as his father, being a Prarthana Samajist, would not care to worship Sai Baba's picture. However, on his father's giving an assurance under oath that he would perform the worship exactly as his son was doing, the mother and son left for Shirdi on a Friday night. Next day, Saturday, Mr. Tarkad got up early, took his bath, and before proceeding with the puja, prostrated himself before the shrine and said, Baba, I'm going to perform the puja exactly as my son has been doing, but please let it not be a formal drill. Saying so, he performed the puja and offered a few pieces of lump sugar as Naivedya offering. The sugar was distributed at lunchtime. So see, what a beautiful prayer. Yeah? He is asking God only, I'm going to do it just like that, but please ensure I don't do it mechanically, one drill. For many of us, we are so busy, we don't have time. Puja is a drill only. Something to do quickly because I have to rush to something very important. Do this puja very well, everything will fall in line. Do not think that you have to quickly finish the puja so that you can take care of something else. This is a mistake we make. Constantly we must learn to connect with that consciousness that is all pervading. And once you're connected to that, what can go wrong? It will go as per the divine will. Isn't it? So that puja must, and for that, we need to seek His grace and pray in this way. That evening and next day, Sunday, everything went on well. The following Monday was a working day and it also passed well. Mr. Tarkad, who had never performed puja like this in all his life, felt great confidence within himself that everything was passing on quite satisfactorily as per the promise given to the son. Next Tuesday, he performed the morning puja as usual and left for his work. Coming home at noon, he found that there was no prasad sugar to partake of when the meal was served. He asked the servant cook, who told him that there was no offering made that morning and that he had completely forgotten to perform that part of the puja offering Naivedya. At this, he left his seat and prostrated himself before the shrine, expressed his regret at the same time, chiding Baba for the want of guidance and making the whole affair a matter of mere drill. Then he wrote a letter to his son, stating the facts and requested him to lay it at Baba's feet and ask his pardon for his neglect. See, a man of pure heart, you know, whatever he was, his ideologies and all that, he had made a promise and he wanted to fulfill it. But it can happen. He forgot. And then he said, I must ask for pardon. So he wrote a letter to his son so that this letter can be placed at Baba's feet and seek, you know, pardon, seek forgiveness from him. This happened in Bandra at about Tuesday noon. Now we shall see what happened there in Shirdi. Like a typical, it's like a movie, this is happening, and at the same time, what happens there, and then you will see, oh my, it's all so connected. You can't believe it. Because when it happens in movies, we say, oh, the director wanted it like this. And then there is a whole great director of the universe. He has everything at his fingertips, He can make this happen. Let's see what happened here. At about the same time, when the noon Aarti was about to commence in Shirdi, Baba said to Mrs. Tarkar, Mother, I had been to your house in Bandra with a view to have something to eat. I found the door locked. I somehow got an entry and found to my regret that Bahu, Mr. Tarkar, had left nothing to eat for me. So I have returned with my hunger unappeased. The lady did not understand this. But the son, who was close by, understood the whole thing, that there was something wrong with the puja in Bandra. And he therefore requested Baba to permit him to go home. Okay. Baba refused this, but allowed him to perform puja there. Then the son wrote a letter to his father stating all that took place at Shirdi and implored his father not to neglect the puja at home. Both these letters crossed each other and were delivered to the respective parties the next day. Is this not wonderful? Look at this now. The son said, there must be something wrong at home. So let me go home. Baba said, no, just do the puja here. So he finished puja and he wrote a letter to his father. I think something has gone wrong. Baba is making some suggestions here. And both the letters crossed each other. Father's letter also reached saying, forgive me, I made this mistake. Here, I would like to share one incident. One day, we were with the priest, the family basically, and we were going to their Kula Deva, they have a deity, family deity, and they had to go to 2 more temples whom they had prayed in a long time for their son, and we were going to drop the son at his Gurukula, Veda Patshala. So before that, they wanted all this, and they said, Ma, would you accompany? And I said, yes, we will go. I wanted to see the Veda Patshala also. So we were going to leave pretty early in the morning. And so I said, okay, today, Baba, what to offer you. So whatever puja, everything done. And I left. Okay, I had forgotten something very, very important. And we went to their Kuladeva, then the one more temple where they had some vow to do and perform some certain, they've completed that. And this priest, he had most of his relatives only as priests, and they all in the family of a Brahmin. So these pujaris, they know each other, they all belong to a certain family. So in this temple, there was his uncle, an elderly person whom we met. And he came out, he was performing the puja. And then he came out, it was almost lunchtime, so he put on his shirt and all that. And then we just met. And so the priest introduced me to him. This is Amma. Amma has got Baba temple and she performs, I do puja there. And this is how he introduced me, Baba devotee. And that priest, who is a very traditional priest of the temple, he says, oh really, how beautiful. And then he just picks up a Baba's photo from his pocket and he shows me. And he says, I am a great devotee of Baba. I never get out of the house without keeping a glass of water for him. because he may need it at any time, you know. I do puja, whether I am late or I might come early or I might be late, I leave a glass of water for him. I never forget to do that. You know, otherwise Baba remains thirsty, no? And it struck me that that day I had not kept that glass of water. I said, oh, this is Baba reminding me he's going to go thirsty because I have not left that glass of water that day. And tears, you know, because I started crying. I said, oh, what did I do? I did everything, but I had not left that glass of water, the typical glass that is kept. I had not done it. And he saw me and he said, oh ma, why you? I said, see, this is what I have done. Baba has come through you. He needs a way to communicate to me that I forgot it was lunchtime. See, at lunchtime, I was told, why will that person tell me this? Now see, he's a devotee. He showed me the photograph. He could have just said, I do puja every day. What did he say? I leave a glass of water for him every day. Now, is this needed to be told by him? Then he was feeling so sorry, Amma, I made you cry. I shouldn't have told you. I said, you are not telling. Baba is telling through you that I forgot water and he went thirsty. You know, so these are things when you know for sure. If this way, if one is connected, Baba begins to speak to you through anybody and everybody. So we must remember, and this is how Baba also told the son, I went and I didn't get anything to eat. One would wonder, you know, Bandra mein puja ke mein aarti mein aur usme naivedya nahi rakha. How can Baba get to know? But he knows. He is the self of all, isn't it? So here, Mrs. Tarkad. Let us now take up the case of Mrs. Tarkad herself. She offered 3 things, which is bharit, roasted brinjal mixed with curds and spice. Second, kachariya, circular pieces of brinjal fried in ghee. And third, pedha, sweet meat ball. Let us see how Baba accepted these. Once Mr. Raghuveer Bhaskar Purandare of Bandra, a great devotee of Baba, started for Shirdi with family. Mrs. Tarkad went to Mrs. Purandare and gave her 2 brinjals and requested her to prepare bharit of 1 brinjal and kachariya of the other when she went to Shirdi and served Baba with them. After reaching Shirdi, Mrs. Purandare went with her dish of bharit to the masjid when Baba was just sitting for meals. Baba found the bharit very tasty. So he distributed it all and said that he wanted kachariya now. A word was sent to Radha Krishna Mai that Baba wanted kachariya. She was in a fix, as that there was no season of brinjals. How to get brinjals was the question. When an inquiry was made as to who brought the bharit in the first place, it was found that Mrs. Purandare was entrusted with the duty of serving kachariya. Everybody then came to know the significance of Baba's inquiry regarding kachariya and was wonderstruck at Baba's all-pervasive knowledge. In December 1915, one Govind Balaram Mankar wanted to go to Shirdi to perform the obsequies of his father. Before he left, he came to see Mr. Tarkad. Then Mrs. Tarkad wanted to send something with him to Baba. She searched the whole house but found nothing except a peda, which had already been offered as naivedya. The boy Govind was in mourning. Out of great devotion to Baba, she sent the peda with him, hoping that Baba would accept and eat it. Govind went to Shirdi and saw Baba, but forgot to take the peda with him. Baba simply waited. When again he went to Baba in the afternoon, he went empty-handed, without the peda. Baba could wait no longer and did ask him straight, "What did you bring for me?" "Nothing," was the reply. Baba asked him again. The same reply came forth again. Then Baba asked him the question, "Did not the mother give some sweetmeat to you for me at the time of your starting?" The boy then remembered the whole thing. He felt abashed, asked Baba's pardon, ran to his lodging, brought the peda and gave it to Baba. As soon as Baba got it in his hand, he put it into his mouth and gulped it down. Thus, the devotion of Mrs. Tarkar was recognized and accepted. As men believe in me, so do I accept them. So it is proportionate. That is, the kind of faith we have. That is, the more we keep this faith, that much totally we will understand Ishvara. We will get to see. If we do not have that kind of faith, then we do not see Ishvara's play also in such depth, in such greatness. We cannot see it. It is directly proportionate. So if you are not able to see somewhere, then you must only increase, fine-tune your faith in him. Baba fed sumptuously. How? Once Mrs. Tarkar was staying in a certain house in Shirdi. At noon, meals were ready and being served when a hungry dog turned up there and began to bark. Mrs. Tarkar got up at once and threw a piece of bread which the dog gulped with great relish. In the afternoon, when she went to the masjid and sat at some distance, Sai Baba said to her, "Mother, you have fed me sumptuously. My famished pranas, life forces, have been satisfied. Ever act like this, and this will stand you in good stead. Sitting in this masjid, I shall never speak untruth. Take pity on me like this. First give bread to the hungry and then eat yourself. Note this well." She could not understand at first the meaning of what Baba said. So she replied, "Baba, how could I feed you? I am myself dependent on others and take my food from them on payment." Then Baba replied, "Eating that lovely bread, I am heartily content and I am still belching. The dog which you saw before meals and to which you gave the piece of bread is one with me. So also all other creatures, cats, pigs, flies, cows, etc., are one with me. I am roaming in their forms. He who sees me in all these creatures is my beloved. So abandon the sense of duality and distinction and serve me as you did today." Drinking these nectar-like words, she was moved. Her eyes were brimmed with tears. Her throat was choked and her joy knew no bounds. See, something which she didn't also what she had done until Baba himself made it clear. And see what he has said here. This is very important, for us to know. Ever act like this. That is constantly what we must do. We must feed people who are hungry before we feed ourselves. This is a very great, it's a nice tapas, it's a nice vow to make to oneself. First we must feed those who are hungry and then only eat. And he says, ever act like this, this will stand you in good stead. This is definitely going to accumulate lot of punya karma phala. The punya that you accumulate in this will stand you in difficult times. Okay, and see the beauty, the humility of Baba here. He says that when he says this, he says, that is true. Do not disbelieve this. Do not think, how will it work? What sense does it make? It makes no logical sense. Don't do this. Baba probably foresaw somebody saying this. That's why he says, I shall never, never speak untruth in this sitting in this masjid. As though if he was outside masjid, he had a choice to say something false. You know, he never had it. He would never do that. But to emphasize on this, if he has to say this, imagine how true it must be and how much we must pay attention to this. So it's very, that is why Annadaan is considered, you know, it's a very purifying act. And it is something that will accumulate us punya karma phala. Let me tell you, there are many cultures where this is not even known. And they do not think of this to be any spiritual in nature. Unfortunate, you know. And here it is, this is what, take pity on me like this, he says. Does he have to say this? The master of the universe? Why does he say this? He urges us. Never ever forget. Even a cat, a dog, a bird doesn't come our way without a reason. There is something that we need. There is a give and take that's going to happen. So when you feed all these bhutas, be it plants that you nurture, be it even ants, very often, if there is a crumb that is fallen in the floor and there are ants eating it, you know, what do? Immediately take it with a broom and throw it aside, isn't it? We don't realize that there are so many ants going to feed on that. They have found that crumb. They need that to survive. They are hungry. That is why they have come there. So I'm not saying go about leaving crumbs in the home, but when they are eating, you take it in such a way that they find the crumbs or let the crumbs be there for some time. It is a matter of minutes that they will finish that food. And they will disperse. Ants are not just going to go around all the time in the house. Just suddenly as they come, when they see a crumb, they will disperse also. So if they are eating something, do not wipe or wash away that food. We very unknowingly, we do not pay attention sometimes, we sweep it off. Don't do that. Let them finish that food. What does it matter? They will all disperse. So we must be careful about these things also. When they are eating especially, not to disturb any animal when they are eating. Not to play with them. Okay? Not to tease them, not to tease anybody with food. You must not do that. Imagine if we were hungry and we are teased this way. And Baba says, I am in all. So if we are looking at Baba in all, we must be friendly with all of them, all other creatures. I'm not telling you invite them all and stay at home with cockroaches and pests. No, you can keep them away. Keep the house clean. Wherever they are, let them be. Okay? But if there is a hungry soul, this way, in any form, Baba says, I roam around. I am also there in all of them. One must keep that in mind. Never hurt another being. And also it says, the dog which you saw before meals and to which you gave the piece of bread is one with me. I am roaming in their forms. I am roaming in their forms. Remember this. Baba says, I am roaming in their forms. So it's Sai Baba's manifestation alone. Drinking these nectar-like words. So we must not have this duality and distinction. The self in me is the self in all. This is what the Upanishads say, isn't it? There is only that one self. There is only that divine self, which is all pervading, which expresses and manifests through every form that is seen. So to be able to connect this way, we must respect that divinity in every being. When you respect that, you are automatically kind to everyone. You cannot be rude to anybody. You cannot take anybody for granted. So that's very important. Moral. See God in all beings is the moral of this chapter. The Upanishads, the Gita, and the Bhagavad all exhort us to perceive God or divinity in all the creatures. By the instance given at the end of this chapter and other numerous to mention, Sai Baba has practically demonstrated to us how to put the Upanishadic teachings into practice. In this way, Sai Baba stands as the best exponent or teacher of the Upanishadic doctrines. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all. The Upanishads constantly declare, that alone consciousness, Brahman, call it the self, alone exists, and it is that same self in every being. And this lesson is beautifully, he has, it is like Bhagavan Krishna telling Arjuna, it is not only that knowledge, theoretical, that I'm going to give you, but in your understanding, you will come to experiencing it. So it is vijnana, you recognize it for yourself. So for that recognition to happen, we must connect and stay tuned with Sai within us and also outside of us, looking at every form as Sai's manifestation only. Then where is the question of any hatred, any kind of greed, any kind of envy with another? Isn't it? It has to dissolve on its own. If you are truly trying to connect this way with another, saying that the other is a manifestation of Sai only, can we be upset at anything? We can just say, okay, we are in no way in any conflict with anybody. Where is the question of being jealous of something? Okay, somebody has got it. The manifestation of Sai, that manifestation has it. So each manifestation has something. Appreciate the beauty of it all. So where is the hatred? Hatred comes only when we are paying attention to the not self, to some things which are not true. When we say not true, what we mean? Something that is coming and going, that is changing constantly. So what we hate also will undergo change, understand. Even that object of hatred will not remain the same. So then our hatred really doesn't have a place. It is meaningless. It has no value. We must realize this, recognize this, and connecting with Sai. Let's stay, like we say, tune into Sai wavelength. If we had, we must be able to this way connect. Then wherever we are attuned with him. We will recognize his grace, his support, his guidance. He will constantly direct us, and then life becomes a nice, beautiful, journey. Everything is fun, everything is beautiful when you are connected to Sai this way. We'll conclude here for today, and we shall continue further next week onwards. In the meantime, keep reading. And I said, we should be completely marinating inside. Whenever you get time, open up some page, open up any chapter, keep reading. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.